Welcome to This Explainer. Look, hemp is easily one of the most fascinating agricultural sectors out there right now. But before you even think about putting a tractor in the field, there is a massive amount of groundwork we need to cover to get you set up for success.
You know, you're probably hearing this question everywhere lately. With global demand absolutely skyrocketing for sustainable fiber, nutrient-rich seeds, and CBD wellness products, hemp is a huge game-changing opportunity. But, and this is a big but, it's an opportunity that requires navigating some incredibly strict legal hurdles before you can plant a single seed. It isn't as simple as just deciding to swap out your corn or soybeans for a new crop. It is a heavily regulated environment that demands absolute precision. So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 5 key areas. First, the necessity of licensing. Second, the application process itself. Third, financial planning. Fourth, strict THC compliance. And finally, some strategic tips to get you started.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, Licensing Necessity.
To really understand why governments place such heavy regulations on hemp, we have to draw a hard, legally enforced line. Botanically speaking, industrial hemp and marijuana are closely related. The difference? Industrial hemp has legally mandated incredibly low THC limits. Because of this close family tie, regulatory authorities use strict licensing to track every single acre, monitor your production, and guarantee that what you're growing stays strictly within the definition of industrial hemp.
Now, you might be thinking of a license as just bureaucratic red tape, but it's really your golden ticket. Yes, having it protects you from severe legal penalties, massive fines, and crop destruction, but beyond that, it builds your actual business credibility. Top-tier buyers, processors, and wholesalers, they literally won't even talk to you without one. Plus, holding that official license opens the door to exclusive agricultural grant programs, loans, and technical assistance that are entirely off-limits to unlicensed growers.
Moving right along to Section 2, the application process.
The journey to getting your farm approved generally follows these 6 core steps. It all kicks off with researching your local regulations, because laws vary wildly depending on where you live, and it wraps up with waiting for an official inspection. And here's the thing, extreme accuracy at every single stage is absolutely critical. I mean, even a minor typo in your paperwork can trigger a review delay that could cost you your entire planting season.
Let's actually zoom in on Step 2 for a second. Verifying your land eligibility is a massive hurdle. You can't just plant this stuff wherever you feel like it. Authorities require highly specific documentation. We're talking exact GPS coordinates, detailed field maps, and local zoning info. Why all the fuss? Well, they have to guarantee you aren't planting near restricted zones, like schools, residential developments, or protected areas. You've got to prove your land is legally viable for this specific crop.
All right, Section 3, Financial Planning.
Brace yourself, because this number often catches newcomers totally off guard. Depending on your cultivation methods and what exactly you're growing the hemp for, small-scale farmers should expect total startup costs to range anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $25,000. And remember, that is per acre. If you're looking at launching a large commercial operation, that required investment is going to climb significantly higher.
It helps to see exactly where that money is going. Your capital isn't just going toward the standard agricultural stuff you'd expect, like land prep, seeds, specialized equipment, and labor. You also have to budget heavily for unavoidable regulatory fees. We're talking initial application fees, annual renewals that scale up based on your acreage, inspection charges, and mandatory laboratory THC testing. Your budget has to be comprehensive enough to cover both the dirt and the red tape.
That brings us to Section 4, strict THC compliance.
Make no mistake, the stakes here are incredibly high. Failing to monitor your THC levels can literally result in the forced, mandatory destruction of your entire crop right there in the field. Let that sink in. Your whole investment gone, along with a suspended license. It's a massive risk that you have to actively manage from day one.
So, to enforce these limits, regulatory authorities have built a very robust system. They mandate pre-harvest sampling, meaning officials will actually come out and collect parts of your plants a few weeks before you harvest. Those samples are sent off for accredited laboratory testing to give legally binding THC measurements. On top of that, expect surprise field compliance inspections to verify your acreage, your cultivation practices, and your record keeping. You really have to be ready at all times.
And here is the silent threat you might not even realize: environmental stressors. It turns out, when plants get stressed, their natural coping mechanism is highly illegal. Unexpected heat, a bad drought,
Or even just a simple delay in your harvesting schedule can cause a perfectly compliant, legal plant to suddenly spike in THC. You have to meticulously monitor both your environment and the maturity of your crop every single day.
Okay, take a breath. With the heavy regulations mapped out, the financial realities clearly budgeted, and the massive compliance risks understood, how do you actually turn all of this into a thriving, profitable business?
Let's get into our final section, strategic tips.
Your absolutely crucial first strategic choice is selecting the right hemp variety, simply because the end uses are so wildly different. Are you growing fiber hemp for textiles and construction materials? Are you growing grain hemp for nutrient-rich foods and cooking oils? Or are you aiming for cannabinoid hemp for the lucrative CBD wellness market? The variety you choose dictates your soil needs, your equipment requirements, and puts you in entirely different buyer markets. You have to nail down your target market before you plant.
As you build out that business plan, make sure you dodge the common pitfalls that trip up so many beginners. Things like submitting incomplete paperwork or messing up your acreage reporting will immediately stall your progress. But pay special attention to this one. Purchasing your seeds before your license is officially in your hands. That is a massive red flag that can instantly mark you for non-compliance. Just wait for the official paperwork.
Let's lock in some final pro tips to guarantee you start on the right foot. First, start with manageable acreage so you can learn the ropes without taking on crazy financial risk. Second, always buy certified seeds from reputable suppliers to protect your THC compliance. Third, prioritize your soil health testing early on. And crucially, strive to secure your buyers and lock in those market relationships before you even begin the harvest. That is how you protect your cash flow.
The potential in this industry is truly massive, but as we've seen, it is a tightrope walk between traditional farming and intense legal compliance, which leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. As global demand continues to surge, will the heavy hand of regulation ultimately stifle agricultural innovation, or will it effectively create a highly protected, incredibly lucrative market for those willing to play by the rules? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will see you next time.